but we'll get right back into it. So we're joined today by Antoine Saikaley of Trend Micro, and we are going to be blessed with a keynote about business continuity in the time of COVID-19. So I'll let you take it away. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jordan, for that warm introduction, and welcome everyone. Before we get started on the topic of business continuity in the time of COVID-19, one of my passions for being part of a cybersecurity technology company is summed up in 3 words: overcome the enemy. That enemy are cyber criminals, those who use the internet as a means to exploit, extort, and harm society. It's for that reason Trend Micro assists law enforcement agencies around the world to bring these ones to justice. And it's for that reason why Trend Micro trains law enforcement to develop cybercrime investigation organizational frameworks in their organizations. When I begin work every day, it's not just about securing a financial institution's cloud environment or serverless application. It's really about safeguarding our personal financial information, both yours and mine, our families, our friends' personal financial information. Similarly, for hospitals, it's not just about protecting, from a cybersecurity perspective, the hospital network, but it's to prevent someone's surgery from being canceled because of a ransomware attack. So if you're in the field of cybersecurity, I encourage you to always reflect on the human element of our day-to-day work. Now on to the topic of business continuity in the time of COVID-19. We realized that hackers, time and again, capitalize on current events, from sporting events to holidays to epidemics. And now we're in this pandemic environment with COVID-19, and once again, hackers are capitalizing on it. Because of social or physical distancing regulations that's been happening around the world, this has shaped corporations to quickly adopt work from home arrangements. The result, of course, is an influx of employees signing in remotely to corporate networks and using cloud-based applications. But this does not come without risks. This actually opens the doors to security risks and cyber threats at home. So how are you coping from work from home arrangements? Have you gotten used to it? Are you perhaps waiting for it to all be over? Well, in the meantime, we have to cope with it and do our best to continue our business aspects. And so what we're going to look at today, we're going to look at some of the threats that are related to COVID through our Trend Micro research. Then we'll look at some tips for companies and tips for employees during this time. So by the numbers, here's some statistics, and these statistics, by the way, are growing day by day. These are the number of threats that Trend Micro has discovered or detected, both from a malware perspective and a spam perspective, related directly to COVID threats. As you can see, the largest amount of detected threats occurred in the Europe region, followed by Asia, then North America. Here's an example of spam infected with the Hawkeye Trojan. As you can look at the email here, it says to kindly read the attached file for your quick remedy on the coronavirus. So it says that there's a cure, and when you double click on the document that's attached, that in effect is a heavily obfuscated AutoIT script that's compiled into an executable, which then steals your personal information. And it also includes an email address and mail server where it will exfiltrate your data. Another example This is an Italian example. It's an invoice. And when one double clicks on that invoice, it executes a PowerShell command that will download a file from a URL related to COVID-19. And this was related to a malware called EvilClippy, which is a tool for creating malicious Office documents to hide its macros. And another example, this is a coronavirus infection kit interactive map made by a Russian language cybercrime unit. And basically, they'll sell this kit. The kit costs about $200 if you have your own Java code signing certificate, or it'll cost $700 if the buyer wishes to use the seller's certificate. And when you use this kit on a web page, it just spreads like wildfire because people are interested to see these heat maps and the statistics grow of confirmed COVID infections. But in reality, what you're doing is you're sharing and spreading malware with your friends and family. Here's some malware files that we found that are named with coronavirus as well. These are the attachments, and they have the word coronavirus on it as well. So coronavirus safety measures, list of coronavirus victims if you're curious, et cetera, et cetera. All to dupe you into double-clicking the malware. And here's a coronavirus ransomware through a fake site. So this is referred to Wise Cleaner, which is a system performance tool, but this is a fake version of it, and utilizes KPOT, which has the coronavirus ransomware and password stealing capabilities. And then finally, another example we have of the many examples that there are, a mobile version. So this ransomware, when clicked on a mobile phone, it'll lock the phone of the victim, and they're giving 48 hours to pay $100 US in Bitcoin to regain access to their phone. Threats include the deletion of data stored on the phone and the leak of social media account details. So here's a tip for companies. So this is a company checklist. If you haven't already done so, you would do well to incorporate these. The first is to set up two-factor authentication. Make sure to have logins set up to not only just rely on passwords alone, because these can be hacked into, but rather to use authentication mobile apps for authentication or biometrics. The second is to pre-configure work from home arrangements. So as a company, you would want to establish clear guidelines on remote working as aligned with company policies, and to equip employees with company-issued laptops that come with intrusion prevention technology and protect against data loss. So you would want to incorporate these into your endpoint protection for the laptop. The intrusion prevention, of course, will stop lateral movement or pivoting, and will prevent exploits of an unpatched vulnerability on that laptop. And remember to back up data, to use the 3-2-1 rule. 3 copies, 2 formats, 1 copy located offsite. Ensure that there are enough VPN licenses for your workers, and limit the use of VPN. So include in it a configuration. For example, allow a maximum of 12 hours of access each day, and once that 12 hours is up, automatically log the user off from the service. So that's for the company checklist. Now we'll talk about the employee checklist. Number one, use a company laptop for remote work if possible. Do not use your personal machine, as it may have fewer security controls than your company-owned hardware. Second was, if use of personal equipment cannot be avoided and you have to use your own machine, keep it as close as possible to office security standards. Again, ensuring that your own device comes equipped with endpoint security, advanced endpoint security software, and follow company data protection measures, and refrain from mixing personal browsing and activities while working. Use company designated VPNs and avoid free public Wi-Fi. Be wary of phishing attacks that steal VPN related account credentials. And be wary of public Wi-Fis. When we're using public Wi-Fi, a hacker can also be on that network and can probe your laptop, find any vulnerabilities, network-based vulnerabilities, and then attack. If you're more tech savvy, try splitting your home network. So using your router, you can create a guest network and have just your work computer on that guest network, which will segregate the rest of the home devices on their own network. That way, if a home computer is infected and the hacker tries to pivot to another computer, well, because your work computer is on another network, it'll be hard for that hacker, of course, to pivot to your work computer. So split your network if possible. And of course, prepare a backup solution at home. If you have one, use a USB hard drive to make backup copies of your important documents. And this will put you in a better position that if something goes wrong, and if there is an oops and a ransomware attack occurs, you can quickly recover your files from a backup. And be wary of online scams. Unfortunately, scammers use current situations like COVID to prey on collective fear and misinformation for their fraudulent activities. So if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Be wary of telltale signs of phishing scams. Look at the sender. Is it an unknown sender? Are there glaring grammatical errors? Mismatched URLs? Maybe there's two L's in a particular word, or even outlandish stories. Do not provide your identifiable information, such as personal details and bank account information, to anyone. And immediately alert your organization if you receive such attempts to help others spot the scams. In conclusion, we can all do our part as technology providers, companies, and employees in overcoming the enemy during this time of the pandemic. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me. My email is on the slide here. And now we'll take some questions from you.
Hey, so I have a question that came in through the QA. For people that want to protect themselves, and maybe their company doesn't have a lot of things in place, like a company VPN and such, what would be the best recommendations that they could do at home?
To protect their machines?
Yeah, if they are connecting and trying to open it up that way.
Yeah, so companies such as Trend Micro also provide endpoint protection, not just for enterprises, but also for home laptops, and they could procure that through our website. We also have arrangements for companies where we've provided some temporary licenses to protect users at home as well. So feel free to reach out to Trend Micro and we could help out in that regard.
And then there was one more question regarding, you mentioned backup solutions. So backing up regularly with USB stuff. And the fear was how to avoid, say you're at risk for ransomware thing, how to avoid your storage, like your backup solutions being compromised too.
Yeah, so very good question. Make a backup, disconnect it from the laptop. Don't always keep it connected to the laptop. And in the event that ransomware does occur, it will encrypt obviously the laptop in question, but your USB drive is already disconnected. Any other questions?
All right, I think that's all that we have at the moment. We encourage everybody, if you have further questions, to reach out directly to Antoine or definitely stop by the Trend Micro exhibit booth over the next couple of days. So very huge thank you for this wonderful keynote, and thank you everybody for attending today.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.